This is the Marlin Pond 1 year overview reading for the year of 2024. It's currently May 1st, 2024, 2:33 p.m. Eastern time. So just to be clear, we're doing the actual prediction here at the start of the second quarter for the year. The good news is that we can then look back at the first quarter and check against the chart and see how we did. And that'll give us a good idea of if the remainder of the reading is going to be solid or not. The shuffle file that's playing for you in the lower left corner was created on February 19th, 2024 at 8:09 p.m. That's how backed up we got at the beginning of the year with so many orders that came through in the first month and first 2 months. So February 9th, 2024 at 8:09 p.m. Eastern time. So basically the only part of this reading that was actually done was already passed was the January portion. But at this point, we're doing the recording now, so we'll work with the first three and just kind of like back check the first quarter. Behavior throughout the year, the overall theme and behavior is the change card, indicating quite a lot of price change back and forth. You probably see highs and lows multiple times when you see the change card as the theme, and it's crossed with the Prince of Discs, which is sideways rotation along key support level on a 1 year chart scale minimum, probably a multi-year scale minimum. All right, behavior around the highest high. We have sideways rotation along key support on a 1 year chart scale that ends with a big move to the upside, and then more sideways rotation at a higher support level into the high. And the high will be in that sideways rotation. Behavior around the lowest low. The Princess of Swords indicates that we revisit the low probably multiple times, more than one revisiting of the low. Now I'm going to get into the week-by-week chart behavior as well as timing the highest highs and the lowest lows. All of that in just a moment, but before we do that, I just want to make sure everybody's aware. The whole purpose of the channel is to transmute some of the competitive energy of the stock market into goodwill. We do that by following the rule of karma for the channel. You go to the resources tab of our website, Tarot for Traders, and 5% of the profits from every profitable trade utilizing this information should be donated forward to one of these charities, or pick a charity of your choosing as long as you're paying 5% forward, and then 5% should be sent back to the channel through one of these links. If you're international, you can use Wise or you can use YouTube tips, and that leaves you at 90%. Make sure to spend that 90% out of love. As long as you follow those rules, you follow the rule of karma for the channel, the universe considers you an angel investor. It's going to send it back to you tenfold for following through. Blessings to all my angel investors. Let's get back into it. So in April, we have a failed attempt to break through key resistance in the early part of April, followed by a decline through multiple support levels into a low. It actually looks like we have a failed attempt in early April, followed by a decline in April, and then in like the second week, this big move out of a trough to the upside. The abundance card indicates an important high. It might be a highest high, like another one. It's possible. In these circumstances, it's a little difficult to determine. But what we'll see for the April high is this move to the upside through key resistance on a multi-day scale, and then we stay above it briefly, break back down through shortly thereafter, and that decline breaking back down through the price level will continue into the later part of April and actually into the first week of May, offering a pretty notable opportunity to open up what appears to be a long position. We're going to talk about that in more detail in the paid version. There's a trough there in early May, and out of that trough, that trough forms at the bottom of a decline that starts from a near overbought crest on a multi-day scale, and then in the early part of May, out of that trough, we have a rally along a diagonal trend line that ends with a fast sudden move higher, and then a breakdown through that diagonal trend line with increasing volatility on the way down. It looks like there's a pretty notable reversal. So there's like this big move higher into the high in May, into the May high, followed by like a big reversal at the high and a notable decline into a prominent trough, possibly even a lowest low there for our first lowest low for the year in the later part of May. The full card indicates a significant trade opportunity that will stand out amongst other trade opportunities when we look back at the year of 2024. So we're definitely going to take advantage of that, and I'll talk about how to do that in the paid version. And then behavior around the low, we'll be bumping along resistance sideways near the low, maybe breaking through and continuing to bump like out of the low. It's possible, but in early June, out of that low that's like right there on the cusp of May, June, there's a notable move to the upside on a multi-day scale or on a 1 year chart scale. We break through key resistance, stay above it briefly, and then break back down with a full retracement. That's the early part of June. Volume or volatility kind of flattens out near the June low, which I'm pretty sure is shared there with the May low. So it looks like there in June, we're kind of hanging out near a price level. We break through it momentarily and then break back down through it shortly thereafter with the full retracement. And then in the later part of June, there's another crest that's probably a similar price level. It's actually probably much higher. So there's a decline. That decline from that peak there, where we break through resistance momentarily and then break back down. That decline it's not actually off of a high. We probably turn around somewhere there. And move pretty significantly to the upside, taking us into a year's high there in like the third week of June. That crest will sell off from down to and through support on a multi-day scale. We'll do a U-shaped reversal, come back and reuse that support as support. And then the decline will continue again in early June. We'll get into that momentarily. Before we go any further, let's take a look and see how we did for the first quarter of 2024. All right, so we have a prominent trough and a prominent peak. Yeah, I mean, you could say that this was it because they're within close time proximity to each other, right? And then completion of a bullish trend here right at the end of the month. Then we successfully turned resistance into support there in early February. Price swings in the later part of February. Important price level. I'm going to mark this off as a science price level, the low here. Why am I marking this off? With SO meta-analysis, the way that you're able to extrapolate price level information is through like relative relations to other price points. So this science card right here is indicating that the low in February is an important price level on a multi-year scale. Interesting, and you can see how we're back at that price level here. Interesting. Looks like we probably break through it. Okay, so this is pretty solid thus far, and then off of the February high, we had a pretty notable decline. It's a prominent peak for the February high, also a high side thus far, which we have followed by a sharp decline, and then that turns into price swings. We have a fake out in the early part of March where there's this drop here, and that's a prominent trough, and then it turns into a big move to the upside. Multiple failed attempts to break through key resistance near the high, and another highest high in March, followed by a sharp drop here, which I actually changed this. That's not correct because I cloned this reading. Right, so we finish off near highs in March, and then in the end of March, there's resistance highlighted that we failed to break through many times before. You can see how that took place. Out of the low of March, which is a prominent trough in the mid part of March, there's a sideways fluctuating rally that precedes a sharp decline. So that's all pretty darn solid, guys. For April, failed attempt to break through resistance in the early part of April, taking us into a prominent trough. Big move to the upside out of that trough mid-month, and the low forms after a decline through multiple support levels. This is a notable opportunity here. So this is really solid, guys. I'm going to talk about the opportunity that I see right here in the paid version. What you get in the paid version, guys, is all of the best trades, the timing of the best trades that we see, what trades to avoid, and how to trade them, like what to look for as far as entry and exit into and out of those trades for chart behavior, when to buy a full position, when to buy a partial position, things like that. We're not right all the time. We're right the majority of the time. Like, if you bet responsibly, you can do really, really well with this information. It's drastically underpriced, and it's a great way to support the channel and get back and say thank you. So the way that you get the paid version, if you're interested in the paid version, it's a really great way to support the channel. You're getting information in the paid version that you won't find anywhere else in the world. This is super undervalued information. Literally, only place you can find it is at Tarot for Traders and the Investor Profit. What you're getting is the timing of the best trades, what type of trades to make, also what type of chart behavior to look for as far as entry and exit into and out of those trades. You get any trades from a multi-month and a multi-year standpoint, and then any price level information that we're able to extrapolate. So this is super valuable information. People with the paid version are making money. So the way that you get the paid version, you go to our website, Tarot for Traders, you hover over our services, click on SO Meta Posts, and then you want to scroll down to monthly subscription, click here to order. You can subscribe to any one of these individual crypto or ticker symbols for $2.49 a month, or you can get the all paid version, which gives you access to all of these crypto and ticker symbols for $4.99 a month. Not to mention, you are also getting any one-offs, any custom monthlies that people order for that month, and any monthlies that I do that are relevant to that part of the year. So there's going to be different monthlies coming out month to month, and you would have access to all of those paid versions through the all paid version. The most popular way to support the channel, and not to mention, it's a really great way to get my attention. So thank you to everybody that goes ahead and does that, and let's get back into it. And so we're declining pretty notably through multiple supports. We declined 2 and 3 support to meet another support, bounce along that support sideways, and then break down through multiple supports there in July. So it looks like there's pretty notable decline off of the highest high there in the third or beginning of the fourth week of June into another really significant trough. Not necessarily a lowest low, but it could stand. It's hard to say in this circumstance. It could stand out as a really important trough here. For the July low, there's a huge move to the upside to reach the July high. So usually when you see that, the adjustment card, it's like a gap up or just like a really, really stand out on the chart kind of move to the upside. It looks like that probably takes place off of an important support level on a multi-year scale in the later part of July. This big move into it, and then right on the cusp, big move out of it. So we create a prominent trough there in the later part of July, big move out of it to the downside right on the cusp, and then we have erratic behavior back and forth through the same price level in the early part of August. We attempt to establish support at the August low in the beginning of the third week, or somewhere in the third week of the month of August. There's 2 prominent troughs here in August, one within close time proximity to the August high, and that would make sense because we're attempting to establish support here near the low, and maybe that we're seeing the same price level as the July low. Yeah, same price level. So we're attempting to establish support there in August at probably the same price level as the July. Out of this trough here, there's this huge move from the bottom of the range all the way to the top of the range. The high for August forms when out of a decline. The decline ends with a fast sudden move higher. So it looks like we decline kind of erratically into a decline in the mid-August, establish support there, and then we make a big move to the upside. We have mixed behavior in September, in the early part of September, sideways S formation within a channel. And then it looks like there's a sharp drop in the end of the second week of September, and then out of a trough, a big move to the upside with a breakout in it, taking us to a brief peak, probably high here on the second week of August. In the midst of that mixed behavior, big move, breakout to a high. It'll form after sideways rotation, a big move to the upside, taking us into a high. It'll be a brief peak that's easily missed, followed by a decline, a really notable decline into a lowest low towards the end of the month of September. So we go from a highest high to a lowest low there in the last 2 weeks. Pretty big moves here, guys. Right on the cusp of September and October, we have the commencement of a rally, which may very well take us back to another highest high or close there in the early part of October with 3 pokes through the same price level, and then a sharp drop into an October low. This is very likely where the lowest of the lows is here in October, and there's a lot of price change in the later part of October with the cash out opportunity. It looks like we rally out of that low pretty notably, increasing with momentum, moving forward into a high. Matter of fact, that's that rally increasing with momentum, moving forward into a high, comes out of this move higher from September, drop into the low, and then there's another big move. We do sideways rotation in the later part of October with this big move to the upside, taking us back to highs in later November. Kind of 3 crisscrosses back and forth through the same price level in early November, confirming a bullish trend with the third cross, which is to the upside. There's a prominent trough on a 1-year chart scale in November, and an unexpected and notable move to the upside out of the November low. I'm advised to be cautious there, and there's a pretty significant decline off of that high at the end of November into December, taking us back to prominent troughs. We revisit an important support level on the 1 year chart scale minimum in the later part of December within a period of sideways rotation where there's a sharp drop. And then off of the December high, which is probably in the early part of December, that decline off of it offers some opportunity. I'll talk about in more detail in the paid version. For 2025, there's a huge move to the upside, pushing the upper end of a multi-year scale higher. And that's Pond Marlin for the year 2024, my friends. Let me know what you think by hitting that like button. As always, make sure to follow that rule of karma. You know where to go, you know what to do. Blessings to all my angel investors. I'll see you guys on the next one. Stay tuned if you got the paid version. We're going to get into the best trades momentarily.